Hey everybody, I am Melissa Mund with MM Designs, and I posted on Mr. Nola's Glitter group page this cup. I call it my blue pumpkin cup, and I was inspired by the material that I cut these pumpkins and flowers from, and I had several people ask about a tutorial, so I'm going to make that attempt. I've never done a tutorial, so please bear with me. If you get bored in any part, please fast forward. I don't want to bore you, but I do want to give you as much information as I can on how I created this little guy. And I thought she just turned out so pretty. A friend of mine purchased her from me, so I'm actually going to make a couple more, and I'm entering one into the auction for the Cash for Crew from Hurricane Ida to help them out. So anyway, hope you enjoy the video. I will post all the information about glitters and supplies that I used and colors, etc. And you can get all that information from there. Feel free to reach out to me on Facebook. You can reach me at Melissa Mund or at MM Designs. And anyway, enjoy. Hey everybody. So I'm going to start doing the stripes on the blue pumpkin cup, and what I used was this double-sided sticky tape. I used this little bitty skinny one down here. You can purchase this a lot of different places. I purchased this one from Mr. Nola's Glitter, MrNolasGlitter.com, and just really love them. They've been a great support through my journey, a lot of information, a lot of help, and so just really love them. Shout out to Rachel and the crew. So when I did this, I was inspired by the stripes. I may have mentioned this earlier. The stripes that are on this particular fabric. This is the fabric I got the pumpkins from and the sunflowers that are on here. And I just liked those little plaid pattern in there, but I wanted something a lot more bold. So this is what I used. I did not measure. I just kind of guessed and how I did it, and lost my X-Acto knife, so I'll be using a straight-edged razor blade. And I just picked a spot, kind of went from here and brought it down like that. Just kind of let it hang. I keep getting out of the camera here. Just kind of let it, you know, so that it's sort of straight. Had a few people comment, oh, how'd you get your line so straight? Well, I just kind of guessed. Move this out of the way. Yeah, so that's what I did. Now I painted this, I spray painted it white, which I don't know if that's necessary to begin with. You just snip that off right there. I don't know if it's necessary, but it's what I did. And the first time I made this cup, I tried to rush the process. So something that's, that's a little crooked. So something that I've learned the hard way is you can't rush this process. So what I did was my paint, the spray paint was almost dry. It was white. The second one here. The paint was almost dry. And I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and put the tape on and do the glitter. And what happened was I ended up with glitter stuck to the paint all over the cup. And I tried to get it off and I tried to brush it off, but it was stuck in the cup. It was stuck in the paint. It was terrible. It was a mess. It was a hot mess. So I thought, well, I've got to cover up that glitter because this is not going to work for me. I don't want glitter scattered everywhere, blue and gold glitter. I don't want that scattered everywhere. So I painstakingly took an itty bitty tiny brush, about like this. Yeah, and I painted in between every little square. I did get a little paint on the glitter, but the other stripes covered it. So anyway, so I did like that, and then it was two. It's kind of hard to see white on white, okay? So I did the two like this. And then it had one in the pattern that was a little bit further over. So I just kind of did it like that. Oops. Yeah, real fun stuff. I I actually love double-sided sticky tape. It is so fun. You can do a lot with it. Make a lot of checkerboard patterns and stripy patterns, things like that. X's and crisscrosses. Just leave it to your imagination, whatever comes to mind. And there we go, there's another stripe. So I did this kind of all the way around. So I'm going to put it on pause. I'm going to go ahead and finish this part, and then I will show you the next phase. Okay, so all my little up and down stripes are done. And now I'm going to do the plaid part of it. I'm going to do it basically the same way, and then I'll show you how I cut the pieces. So, let me see, if I just lay it down, be careful. Little pieces stuck to me. I have to roll around a little bit. There we go. All right, so I just picked a spot right about here. See that? Yeah, about there. I kind of overlap it a little bit because I'm going to cut a nice clean edge. And then I eyeball it around. I'm covering right over the tops of this other tape. First time I did this, I was like trying to cut little bitty pieces and put them in between and make all of that work. You know, these in between pieces, I was like, this is ridiculous. Oh, I got that way crooked. Let's just do it this way. Let's work smarter, not harder. Uh-oh. Okay, that piece to work. It'll be okay though. Watch. That's gonna come around to there. And then I'm going to give it a little tiny slice right there, right next to that tape. Voila, gone. I need to clean this little edge right there because it's kind of overlapping. Maybe I should do this on a dark cup so I can see this a little easier. Okay, so I do the same pattern. I do a single stripe, two, single, two. I'm going to do a single one around this part right here because I just don't like that, you know, connection in the cup right there, so I cover that up. But so for the rest of the cup, when I do that, then after I get all my stripes all the way around done, then I'm going to go back. Let's see, I guess you can see this. I apologize, I don't have the best camera setup. This is my first time doing this. Okay, so this stripe, I'm just going to cut this right here and right here. Okay, and then I'm going to lift that little piece off like that. Get it off my little razor blade here. Yeah, sticky. It's very, very sticky. Okay, and I just do that all the way around because, you know, that's what I want to see. Just like so. Now, if you want to get real technical, which I have a tendency to do, I love details, is I will figure out which line's going to go over, which line's going to go under to give it that plaid look through there. It takes a little bit of thinking, you know, which way I'm going to make that happen. But for now, I'm just going to go with this. And when I do that, I will just cut right here and cut right here. I don't even worry about what's underneath. Just take this off, and when I put this piece of glitter, this line of glitter, it'll just go right over the top of that. So should be okay. If not, then I'll go back under there and pull that piece out. Is that just totally clear as mud? Okay. So I forgot to explain. Let me back up on the paint, and then I'm going to finish the stripes and get to the glitter part. On the paint, I painted it with, here we go. I painted it with chalk paint. Okay. Yeah. Folklore, I know that's backwards, just so you can see the color. I had bought this for another project, and when I saw my mess up on the glitter and had glitter everywhere stuck to the almost dried spray paint, I was like, gotta cover that up. This covered it great. And I was thinking, well, you know, in here it's gonna have some brush strokes because it's chalk paint. So, well, you know, that'll kind of look like fabric. But instead, it ended up being the creamiest, prettiest look underneath the epoxy. I totally did not expect it, and so that was a happy accident. All right, so I'm going to finish this part, and then we'll get to the glittering part. So I have all the tape on, and as you can see, especially on this curvy part, tape's a little bumpy, but that's okay. It's going to be fine, believe it or not. See where it's, well, it'll show it more when I do the glitter, but it's kind of crooked right here. Well, just remember, we're going to be putting some really big design over this. We're going to be putting, you know, the big pumpkins and sunflowers, and I use that to kind of hide my little imperfections that happen as I'm working with this tape. And just because I'm not quite as picky as I used to be, there was a time I would have literally measured from the top every line all the way around and made sure everything was exactly perfect, exactly spaced. But girls and guys, I've just got too many gray hairs to worry about that kind of stuff anymore. Although I will tell you, there are a few designs that really is necessary, and I will do it. But this is a real just creative idea. And when you work with fabric, when you put fabric on things, you know, ribbon, etc., it's gonna kind of go with the curve of the cup and not be an exactly straight line. So we can kind of fudge on that. So, all right, so here's the cool part about double-sided sticky tape. This is what I love. Let's see if I turn it like this. So I'm gonna go along here. Let's see, I think I cut these pieces. I'm trying to do the little over-under pattern. All right, so we just start peeling this off. And as you can see, where it was bumpy because of the top, because the protective cover, well, you just kind of, when we put the glitter on that and rub it down, it's just going to go down flat. So I'm going to go ahead and do one line, and we will see how this turns out. See what you think. I use the corner. If I had my X-Acto knife, I'd be using that, but I, again, have lost them, and I've spent a lot of years just using razor blades for other projects, so I'm okay either way. As long as I have a nice sharp point, something super thin to lift with, I'm good. Okay, oh shoot, I stuck it to my fancy paper underneath here. Okay, come on, get off. Okay. So this is Mr. Nola's glitter. Let's see, you won't be able to read it, it's backwards, but it is Cooter Brown Jr. And it's from the Sunset Cup collection. I just thought it was pretty. And you use it just like you would Modpodge or whatever, and you just kind of rub it in, you know. Oops, well, that was brilliant. All right. I just kind of work it around, I'm going to do all the gold lines first, except for this, because this one is wrinkly. So I want to go ahead and do the blue on this one and get this kind of wrinkly part, because I don't want too much gold getting stuck up underneath there. Okay, looks like I have a place where the tape might have lifted a little bit. You can always go back and fix that with a little touch of Modpodge or another piece of tape. And there's just all kinds of ways to make this work. And I just kind of rub it on there, you know, just rub it in, rub it in, rub it in. Knock that off. And here we go. So super pretty, and shows my super crooked line. Isn't that crazy? All right. I will tell you, with the flat paint, chalk paint, it brushes off pretty good. I'm going to go back over the whole thing with a brush later. We'll get into that too. I'll show you all the coolness of that. And then, of course, any little bumps and whatever, you know, those are going to level out under the epoxy. It's amazing. That just looks terrible right there. I'll fix it though. Just watch. So, don't get too stressed out. It's not worth the stress. Everything is pretty much fixable. Sometimes it might change your design slightly, But then I like to call those happy accidents. All right. So one day my mailman left literally about an inch thick stack of these advertising flyers from Dollar General. And I thought, well, I'll just use those for this. They work great, perfect size and everything. So here we go. Round and round. Where she stops, nobody knows. I know I'm getting off camera, guys. Sorry. Sorry. Oh, it's not lifting. Let's start from over here. See what the problem is. There we go. I'll put another little piece right there. I'll insert that in a minute because I have a missing spot somehow with the tape. I didn't quite get it all the way across. Let me fix that little spot right there with this. I'm just going to literally go right over the top of the other piece. It's not a big deal. Slice that right there. I hope this isn't a terrible video for you guys. I hope it's helpful. Boo-booed. That's okay. You know what? It's okay. Again, happy accidents and large designs cover up a lot of boo-boos. And I make a lot of boo-boos. Lots and lots of them. Okay, so here we go. Now this color I'm going to use is called Oceana, Jr. Real pretty blue. Again, Mr. Nola's. Just happens to be one of my favorite suppliers. Anyway, really pretty blue, mostly. I like it because it just looks really good with the pretty blue pumpkin in the material. And I just work it around, rub it in, rub it in. I'm gonna have that song stuck in your head all day now because of me. Did that ever happen to y'all? Oh, I get a song that literally gets stuck in a loop in my brain, will drive me crazy cray. All right, here we go. Okay, almost done. So now it's starting to take a little shape. I got the wrinkly tape done first, and since I have the blue, let's just continue on with the blue stripes. Okay, again, not perfect, but it's okay. It's gonna be all right, I promise. I promise. Okay, so we're just gonna continue on up. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this line down here at the bottom in blue. So now, very simple, just go around and do, it's a lot easier to just do all the blue and then all the gold than it is to try and do it in the blue and gold, back and forth and back and forth. Yeah, that can get to be a real mess. It sure can. So, I'm gonna go for it this way. And you can take off all the blue stripes if you want to, and then do them all. The only reason that I do it like this is because I am real good at setting my cup down or bumping it into something, thinking, oh, I'm going to rest the top of that on there, and then the next thing you know, I've stuck my tape all into the paper. That's what happened, that other little spot over there that I'm going to have to fix. This little spot right here. That one. Yeah, it got stuck on my paper, and so now it has a little paper stuck to it. I'll probably just fix it with a little Mod Podge. So, love how pretty this is. You know, I wanted some sparkle on this cup, but I didn't want insane sparkle, which is kind of odd for me because I am all about the glitter. Yeah, the more it sparkles, the happier I am. Like, you know, I would love to put diamonds on the dashboard of my car. Yeah, that would be blinding. But I do love the sparkle, sparkle, sparkle. Everything that sparkles. Okay. Following my little pattern. And here we go. One more up here. Now, as I said before, I'm not going to fast forward this. I'm just going to let it roll. You are more than welcome to fast forward through any parts. It will not hurt my feelings. See what I did? I laid that down. I could have made a big old mess. Ah. It's okay, I fixed it. It didn't get stuck. It did not get stuck to the paper. That was a little lucky thing right there. Yes, ma'am, it was. Oops. Yes, I am from the South. I'm from Texas. Live near Houston, a little big town called Meadville. Meadville, Texas. My husband calls it the center of the universe. I think it's so funny. He's a funny guy. Great man, puts up with me and all this craziness. Crazy glitter, crazy spray paints. Glitter everywhere. That's how much I love glitter. I love glitter. Yes, I love everything that sparkles. It is my favorite color. Sparkle, my favorite color. Yes. I would grow glitter in my hair if I could. But since I can't, I have the next best thing. I have a lot of gray hair. I call it my glitter hair. Okay, now let's see. Let's do some up and down blue lines. So let's continue on with this interestingness here. I'll just do this one. I'll just pick one and go. Just, you know, oh. I need to cut that right there. Imagine I need to cut that there because I'm attempting to get more of the weave pattern on this one than I did on the other one, just because I want to see if I can do it. It isn't necessary. I just want to see if I can. It's kind of tedious, intricate, you know. All right. I am slowly gathering and collecting, ordering shakers for my glitter. I just didn't have any for this particular color, so I just use my little medicine cups. And sometimes I feel like I have more control with these than I do with the actual shaker, you know. Okay, so blue, gold, blue, gold, blue, gold. Yeah, I'm gonna have a couple colors next to each other, but that's okay. It's okay. Again, it's art. It's what we make of it. It's our own creation. Did I cut that? I don't know. Nope. Y'all ever get to concentrating and totally forget to breathe? Oh, happens to me all the time. I'll just be concentrating away and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, I just totally forgot to breathe. Of course, my very sweet husband is very quick to say, what are you pissed off about now? I'm like, I'm not pissed off, I just forgot to breathe. How do do you forget to breathe? Well, you know, have you met me? Yeah, it's a family trait. All my sisters do it. My mother did it. It was terrible. It's really bizarre because I don't meet very many men that do that. It must be a chick thing. You just shallow breathe when we're concentrating. Okay. Ta-da. Alright, so I don't want you to have to sit and endure all of the rest of this. But see how it's coming together? Yeah, I know I got a bobble. Yeah, see how it's coming together? Alright, so I'll be back shortly and we'll move on. Okay, so I have all the blue done. There's tape sticking to me. I have all the blue done, and as I was going along, check that out. I'm not sure how that happened, but since I made another boo-boo, I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix it. It's really quite simple. I am literally going to take another piece of tape. Okay, I need tape showing so I can put that on there. I'm going to take another little piece of tape. I'm going to go ahead and cut it because I just know about how long I need it. Oh, lost my razor blade. There it is. Oh, did y'all see what I just did? Oh, I am a hot mess today. Pretty much every day. Okay. Again, I boo-booed that. Let's see, right there. Fix this light a little bit. There we go. Right there. So I'm just going to put another piece of tape over the top of it. Like so. Give it a little cut right here. Right there. There we go. Take that off. Now also, the edges on this, when they're not exactly perfect, it's really okay because later I'm going to edge all of this with, I'm going to edge all of this with vinyl, you know. But check that out. Boom. It's all fixed. It's going to be fine. It's going to be just fine. It's not going to show under the epoxy, and when I edge it with the other, with the vinyl edging, it's going to be super fantastico. All right, so I just wanted to show you that before I moved on. I'm going to go ahead and finish the gold, and be back in a minute. Okay, guys, there you have it. She's all striped. Now, today it's raining, so I am not going to go outside and spray this. I will seal it with Mod Podge. I really don't like my lines to move at all. I don't want any glitter drift. You can also seal it with Aquanet hairspray or just any super strong, extra hold hairspray. It'll hold that glitter in place. And on a lot of my cups, I don't mind a little bit of glitter drift. Say that 5 times fast. But on this particular cup, I really don't want any speckles or spots of the other glitter. That being said, as you can see right here, I have a little bit of a mess. I took the tape off and moved it, and it left a little residue, so I'll probably, first I'm going to see if that will just kind of, can you see it? Yeah. Sometimes I'll just, you know, try to take it off with the razor blade, you know, a little scrape. But more than likely, yeah, it's still going to leave some spots under there that I don't want to see. So I will go back with a little tiny brush and a little bit of this paint, and I'll just paint over that and hide it. I had to do a lot of that on the first cup that I made. It was a hot mess. I had glitter everywhere, and I just had to cover it all up. And I was also thinking, oh man, you know, I'm gonna have all these bumps and whatever, but it's amazing how it all just leveled out on the other one. So, and then again, remember, these lines that are not quite so perfect on the edges, you know, because I know how we're all very hypercritical of our work and our lines. When we put the vinyl on, it's going to even out even more and give it a really pretty look. So anyway, so I'm going to give you this little tip if you're new to this world of cup making. Don't do what I did and be working with glitter and dip your glitter brush back into your Mod Podge, because you will contaminate it. And even though you think you can work around that, you can't. Oh yeah, look, I got a piece without any glitter. And then when it dried, I had all kinds of glitter in the spot that I had sealed with Mod Podge and had a really big mess. So I learned the hard way. I keep a clean bottle of Mod Podge, and I use the other one now for gluing things that are not going to be seen. It's not going to matter. It's going under something. I learned the hard way. So I just pour a little bit into a little medicine cup or disposable something or another. I used to even try to pour it out just on a piece of, you know, something, a piece of paper. Yeah, glitter gets in that too. So this has been the easiest way that I have found to keep from contaminating my glitter. And this is a little bit tedious, but Mod Podge dries so super fast. You know, it really, really does. And I literally just go around and I paint every silly little stripe and make sure that I keep it right where I want it. Because again, I don't want, personally, I just don't want any of this to drift. I don't want these blue glitter to be anywhere else on this cup except for the stripes. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this little bit of tediousness. But again, it's raining. So, I mean, this one actually, I don't have too much around the cup. And I could always cover over it with the paint. I'm going to have to fix a few places anyway, but it's kind of hard to spray paint in the rain. And I do not have an outdoor area. Not yet. Working on it. Maybe one day I'll have my she shed that I so desperately want. But in the meantime, I'm happy with my art room. Just got to be happy with what we have for the time being. Yeah. Easier said than done sometimes. Daily choice for me sometimes. And other days not. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to paint every stripe. I'm going to let it dry. And then the next step, I will, as this is drying, I'm going to go in and I'm going to take a little bit of paint and I'm going to paint in between and cover up where I have just some stuff that wouldn't come off when I brushed it really hard. So I'm going to cover that up with a little bit of paint, let this dry for a couple of hours, and then epoxy it. And then once I'm done with that, we will continue on. See you soon. So the Mod Podge is dry, and I've gone back over, and it doesn't show up real well in the video, but I have little flecks of glitter here and there and everywhere, even though I've tried not to. There's also some spots where some of the blue has gotten stuck into the edge of the gold. Okay, don't stress about it, because again, our vinyl lines are going to cover that. So those little tiny vinyl lines that we're going to do over this later, really, they cover a multitude of little imperfections. But I was just going to show you also, you know, on here, this is just kind of how I do it. Oh, got a little paint there. It's okay. Really, it's okay. Don't stress. It's going to be all right. You know? Got a little bit there. Yeah, first time I did this, I had paint all over these stripes because I literally had to paint every single square. And now I'm just going in, and don't worry about trying to smooth out every little tiny bump. It's all going to smooth out under the epoxy. So I've discovered a new look, happy accident, with the chalk paint under epoxy. It just gets, the only word I know how to describe is creamy, and I can hardly wait to try it with another color. I want to see what it will do with a different color. See if I get the same effect. So, got a little bit on the blue. It's okay. It's okay. Like I said before, almost everything can be fixed. So I'm just going to do this, and again, let all this dry for a couple of hours before I epoxy it. Yeah. In the meantime, happy painting, happy glittering, happy epoxying. You know, for me, it's going to be happy laundry in a minute. Happy laundry, happy dishes, you know, because those things, I swear, they multiply like rabbits in my kitchen. Except for the pots and pans or dishes or utensils that I need, then they disappear. Otherwise, it seems like I have way more than I started out with. I don't know how that happens. Empty sink suddenly becomes full. Oh well, the joys of life's little challenges and working my side hustle from home. Anyway, catch y'all in a little bit. Okay guys, so after a couple of coats of quick set epoxy over these glitter stripes that I did on the double-sided sticky tape, I've gone ahead and sanded. Didn't think you needed to see that. Everybody knows how to sand a cup. I did it by hand. I didn't want to get too aggressive, but I did want to smooth out these a little bit over these glitter lines and get it ready for the next layer of epoxy after we put on the stripes and the pumpkins. So I've pre-cut my stripes, the blue and the gold. These are, if I remember correctly, I have a lot of gray hair, so I tend to forget. I believe that these are cut on a 0.1 width, and then I think 12 inches, the length of the, you know, the size of the vinyl, the width of the vinyl. And I just did a whole bunch because I use these little stripes for a lot of things. They hide crooked edges, and sometimes you just need a little something something around the cup just to give it a little pop. So these come in real handy. You can do them all kinds of widths. So I'm thinking that it's a 0.1 width. It could be even a 0.09 or 0.8. Kind of have to play around with that to get the width you like. Okay, so easy peasy. I'm gonna start with the, I guess just with the gold. Let's see, I think that one's long enough. Yeah, nothing real fancy here. Just peel it off and put it on. I go ahead and kind of doing this so I don't want to block the camera, but anyway. So I find that if I just go ahead and choose a color, choose one, and do all of those, then I can go back and figure out where I need to cut pieces, like for instance here, to let the blue stripes go over if you want it to have that over, under, weavy look, okay? Or you can just literally just do it like this and go over it and have that extra pop. And I use a razor or an X-Acto knife, but I've lost mine, both of them, so fun times. Okay, and that's as simple as this is. I just go along the edges and cover up all the edges. You still see? Not that you really need to watch me do this, you know, not that difficult. They are not as perfect as you may think. I promise these lines are not. See how crooked this little spot is? Just a little FYI. This little note. I don't know if you can see that or not, but this edge of the tape kind of went a little janky, crooked. Well, you know, you just slide that right over the top and voila. Nice, straightened out line, sort of. You know, again, like we said earlier, I want to give kudos to someone that I've only met in person one time. I've talked on the phone to, I think, twice when I very, very first started this and had questions, and she was so kind. Could not believe she actually answered the phone and had time to talk with me when I called the store. But Rachel at Mr. Nola's Glitter, she was probably my first inspired person that I watched. Learned the tack it method from her. Learned how to just do so many cool things. And I've always loved her videos. I love the conversations that she has with us, even though we're not able to talk back, except when she's doing a Facebook Live and people are doing online chatting. But anyway, I digress. I just want to give a shout out and kudos to her team. At the time I'm making this cup for you guys doing this, Louisiana has been hit with Hurricane Ida, and she was a monster storm. They are really, really months and months away from recovery from the storm. So this cup is going in to the auction. They're calling it Cash for the Crew. And so I'm making this cup and donating it to the auction to help raise money, because at this time they're using those funds, and as I understand it, part of those funds they're actually using to feed the linemen at the store, at their new store. So it kind of brings tears to my eyes. Since I can't go over there physically and be a part of that, it's a way that we can help. They've had so many people donate to this auction, and it's kind of cool because we're all bidding and buying each other's work, bidding on and purchasing, and making a way to give to each other fun. And you know, I've talked about earlier, I think, just talked about how much I love the camaraderie, the family that has, the cup making family, I guess. You know, we just all share, we work together, we share our ideas, we help each other with problems, and now we're actually able to help with some life problems, some terrible life challenges. And so I just thought I'd share that with you. If you're watching this and you're not familiar with them, check out their page. It's MrNolasGlitter.com. And Rachel and her husband and her crew, just really, really cool people. And I'm glad to know them. Really, really glad. I have family in parts of Louisiana. They were not hit as hard as, you know, the lower parts, the southern parts of Louisiana, but my husband's family lives in Houma and that area. They were hit really hard. So it's just cool getting to help each other. Anyway, so this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go ahead and pause, finish the stripes, and then just show you how I do the little over under parts, you know, to make that work, make it look like more of a basket weave. Yeah, be careful if you're using a straight edge razor blade, and if I use it incorrectly, I apologize. I've been using these for a long time, and I tend to get a little I don't know, I guess you'd call it lazy with my my use of them. I get a little careless, not lazy. I get a little careless sometimes, just because I, you know, use them so much, and then I shouldn't be careless. They can put a pretty good slice on you. Okay, be back in a minute. Okay, I've gone ahead and finished the vertical lines of all the gold, and now I'm going to start going with the cross lines of the gold, and these are the pieces, these little pieces. I cut off the bottom. I just stick them on the edge of my desk, you know, hang on to them. Vinyl's expensive, and probably a no-brainer, but I'm just going to show you anyway because it's going over the blue and that, and I want to keep the boldness of these squares. Let's see if that's going to be long enough. This one I think will be. So I'm going to go down here to this one. So I'm going to go right here to the edge of this. Press that on. It's going across the top of the blue. Oh, it's not long enough. Okay, I may have to cut some more gold. We'll use that elsewhere. Let me get a long one. This is, believe it or not, these stripes are the in-between stripes from another set of lines I cut. I don't throw anything away. I have a box of vinyl that's just cut, literally a box of vinyl that's cut in a bunch of stripes, and then I keep the pieces. Like for instance, I'm going to keep this piece. Okay, I'm just going to cut off this excess, and I'm going to hang on to this one because I might just need that strip. You know, it might just be the perfect piece I need. So I keep all my stripes in one box. I keep another box of just random pieces. I'm not super organized, so they're literally just tossed into, but sometimes you only need a little piece of vinyl that's, you know, about 2 by 2 inches or 1 inch by 2 inches. You just need a little circle, a dot, an I, the letter I, you know, because somehow it got stuck in your vinyl and you're just like, oh shoot, now what am I going to do? So, you know, that's what I do. Works for me. Okay. So I'm going to start here because this gold line is going across that blue. It's going up to and under. So I'm going to go from there to there. Simple, easy peasy. Actually from there, right there. And at first when I did this, I was trying to figure out, okay, am I going to have the gold line go under that gold or over that gold? If it's the same color, I just go ahead and leave the pieces right over the top of each other to make those little squares. Kind of sticking to me. I know. I apologize for all my boo-boos and my weirdness. This literally is my very first ever tutorial, and y'all are probably going, no kidding. So I'm literally going to keep going simply because sometimes it's easier. I'm going to have to stop right back here. Okay, just lay that on there. I'm going to take my little piece of razor blade. I'm going to do a little cut right there on the edge of that blue. And voila. Done. See? Okay. This piece, again, isn't quite long enough for that section to continue on and make it all the way to here. So I'm going to have to get a longer one. And I'm going to have to cut some more gold lines. So that's okay. It doesn't take but a minute. Maybe next time I do this, I'll actually have a little tripod instead of this other little phone holder that I have, where I'll be able to give you a better view of what I'm doing. I'll show you a little trick. This little long piece keeps getting in my way, so I take it and I stick it to my arm, and then it doesn't flop down and get on the cup. Little tip and trick. You know, necessity, the mother of invention. Also frustration. Frustration has caused me to create a few tips and tricks, because you know, it's like, good grief, this little vinyl piece of string is just getting everywhere. It's driving me crazy. So I stuck it to my arm, and there we go. Voila. Okay, see? Perfect. Just to right there. And I'll give it a little cut. Boom. Peel that off. Ta-da! So I'm going to be doing this all the way around the cup. Let me put a little bit of this blue line on there for you, just so you can see the contrast, because it looks really good. I'm glad y'all can't see my face while I'm doing this, because I'm like got my face all scrunched up. I do that when I'm concentrating. Wrinkle up my nose. My mother said it was all in the way you hold your mouth. So sometimes my mouth is doing weird things, like I've got my tongue stuck out like a little kid. Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. We all have weird stuff we do when we're concentrating. But I want you to see the contrast. I think it's so pretty on here. These little pieces, I just, you know, toss, but I keep these little guys. Don't toss those, you're gonna need them. Yep, I'm gonna stick them on the edge of my desk and rock on. I've also found other uses, like for instance when I put down this butcher paper. My desk is not this clean, okay? Just saying, my desk is a wreck. So I buy a great big roll of butcher paper. One side is a paper side, the other side is a waxy, shiny finish. It's great because you can work your Modpodge pieces on this, and they won't stick. You can peel them up after they dry, things like that. And then when it gets icky, I just peel it up, toss it away, put down a new piece, because underneath this, girlfriends and dudes, it is a hot mess. I will not lie to you. So another little, that's just what I do, works for me. So I'm going to go along here, I'm going to do this, take this off. I'm actually working a little slower than I normally would, just because I'm talking to you. I'm one of those that can't walk and chew gum at the same time. Alright, so here is where my gold is going to come across, and this blue is going to go under. So I'm just going to give it a little slice. Give it a little slice. It doesn't have to be perfect, because that gold piece you're going to put across there is going to cover those edges. And then our other pumpkins and flowers and such, well, they're going to cover other boo-boos that I'm sure you're already seeing in my stripes. Okay? So simple, simple, easy peasy. Again, right here. I'm going to just get rid of those. Ta-da. Take that off. And it's done. So that kind of gives you an idea how that's going to look. Let you see how those colors are going to pop as we're putting this together. Okay, so I'm going to pause you. I'm going to be gone for a little while, but you'll see me in just a few seconds. Alrighty then. So I have all the stripes on the cup. And now what I'm kind of working on is the over-under, the weave in here. So for instance, right here where this gold goes all the way across, I'm setting it up as the gold going over the blue. So I'm just going to take my little razor blade or an X-Acto knife, whatever you have, and just cut right there and right there and peel that out. Again, I'm sure most of this is a no-brainer. Most of you who have asked for this tutorial have been cup makers for a while. So you can do it this way if you want to. I think on the other cup, the first cup that I did, I didn't do any of this. I literally went blue lines, gold line, blue line, gold line, and I just left everything crisscrossing where it was. I didn't try to remove all this. So I'm giving myself a little bit of a challenge to see if I can actually make this happen. And it's a little bit tedious. I'm kind of one of those weirdos that likes detail work. Hence the stripes. Now I'm going to talk to you about my crooked stripes. So these are crooked. See? It's curvy right there. So because this is probably the worst curviness and crookedness, this is where the bulk of my big pumpkin is going to go. You know, I'm going to kind of disguise that, you know. But you also have to remember that if you put striped fabric on curves, I'm a curvy girl, it happens, those stripes are not going to be straight anymore. They're going to be a little wavy, they're going to be a little crooked. So just something to keep in mind if you're working on a modern curve, any kind of a cup that has curves or tapers, your lines may end up being a little bit curvy, a little bit crooked. But trust me, by the time you get your entire design on here, you're not going to notice any of that. On the first one I did, that I posted on the Mr. Nola's glitter page, oh my stars, I had several people, oh, your lines are so straight. And I'm like, well, don't look too close because you're going to see how crooked they are. So, just thought I'd share that little tidbit with you. And again, you know, we're creating art here. Sometimes our boo-boos, things that we didn't intend to happen, end up being happy accidents. Or we discover, well, yeah, happy accidents that lead us to another design, lead us to another idea, sometimes a way to fix something we're not happy with. So anyway, so I'll be back in just a minute and we'll start applying all the pretty pumpkins and flowers. Okay, so I'm back. Short time for you, about 30 minutes for me. Just to kind of give you an idea how long that took to cut out all these little pieces, etc. Now I just have, I confiscate my husband's old t-shirts. You know how they get kind of old and get holes in them? I keep his t-shirts and make perfect little cleaning rags. I've got a tiny bit of alcohol in here because we all know how that glitter likes to travel. So I'm just trying to dust all that off. A lot of y'all know about this little trick. Pieces of pool noodle, rubber bands, voila. Place to set your cup, keep it from rolling. So now what I'm doing, I've already done the bottom. Before I start with the pumpkins and such, I'm just checking the top of my cup here because I learned the hard way with vinyl and glitter. Getting it too close to the top can sometimes interfere with getting a good seal on that epoxy around the rim. So I'm going back and I'm trimming this off with my little razor blade. Just kind of going across like that, popping that off of there. Be careful not to scratch your paint under. You know. But I just want to get rid of that. Little edges. So the same thing when I'm doing the double-sided sticky tape to put the stripes on. I just want to be careful not to get it too close to the top edge. Definitely do not overlap it onto the lip of your cup. So just a little FYI. Now material, same thing. You want to leave a little edge, and how I learned that was I was given a cup that had been covered in material, and unfortunately the gal, she was new, and I knew this because I had talked to her, and then my sister showed up at the same little craft fair I was at and bought the cup I was looking at. So it was super cute, but the top edge didn't seal, it didn't stay sealed, and as I used the cup it began to open, and then it was my favorite coffee cup, and coffee got into the material and just began to stain all down in. So I have recently stripped that cup and remade it into another fun cup for me. But still, I'm gonna miss all the dragonflies. I could not find the material that this gal used. So Okay, enough of that tediousness. Now, like I said before, this whole making it an exact weave, making looking like the blue is going under or over the gold, etc. I didn't do that on the first cup. Attempted it on this one. I just wanted to see if I could do it. And the biggest challenge was I didn't actually mathematically figure out how many vertical stripes and how many horizontal stripes I needed to make the perfect over, under pattern. So if you have a great mathematician in your family, or if you're one, you know, a friend, or if you're just super good with that, then that's what I would recommend. Otherwise, it's really not necessary. Like I said, the other cup, I just did them. I just overlapped every stripe and went on my merry way with the vinyl. It actually turned out really cool. All right, so let's move on to the fun stuff. This is the absolute most tedious part of the whole cup, putting these stripes on, the vinyl stripes. Everything else, not so much. So, little Mod Podge into a cup, because I learned the hard way. I made a big hot mess by getting glitter in my Mod Podge. Okay, here's my pieces that I cut out. I've got flowers, stripy pumpkins, my favorite blue pumpkin. This is the big blue pumpkin that I put on the other cup. Here's a little fun one. This is kind of a little squatty guy. I'm going to save this for another cup because, oops, because on the fabric, as I was cutting it out, this was right at that selvage edged part. And, you know, I could do something like, for instance, maybe that. I could do that and just kind of hide that with another pumpkin or with some flowers. You know, that's always an option. Or if I decide, goodness, if I decide that maybe I want to do a split cup, okay, and I want to do something that's like maybe, I'm kind of thinking half fall and half Christmas, that would be the perfect edge for my fall side of that half a cup. So I'll put that little guy aside for now. I'm going to start on this. Again, Mod Podge, not everybody's favorite friend, but when you need it, you need it. So here we go. Going the brush, with the big fat brush. This has already been cut. Oh, I forgot to cut this part out. Hang on. I know, a little more tediousness for you to watch, but let me tell you, when you do this, like I showed you earlier in the video, make sure that this material is super, super saturated with the Mod Podge. You don't want it to not be soaked all the way through. And these little berries are impossible to cut around. So I just took my little tiny scissors and I just kind of cut and just did a little weavy around the flower. Doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. It's a flower, petals go all kinds of ways. All kinds of which ways. Which way this, which way that. There we go. Hang on, I know that looked flat, but I fixed it. Ta-da. Okay. I don't want that on there like that, so that leaf is just going to have a little bit of character to it. That's what I call it. When I change the shape of something, I'm giving it character. Okay. So here we go. Now, on my cup, where am I going to put this? Well, I think on the other one, let's see, I have a spot on here that I don't like. Down here at the bottom, where this is super curvy. So I'm going to go to the other side, and I'm going to put this guy up here around the top, like so. Okay, now, something else to, let me show you before we start Mod Podging. You can see as I put this on here, see how it's rumply right there? Okay, it's not going to lay flat. Okay, so this is what I do. Find a spot within the pattern, okay? I'm going to go like right here because these little leaves and then this dark line, I can overlap that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to carefully cut there. Yeah, like so. Cutting this. And I just want it to have enough room to overlap. Okay, now that I've got the leaf, I'm going to just go right here at this side, this edge of the fabric. I'm going to cut a little line up like that. So what happens is when it goes on that foldy part, this will just lay over like that. I don't know if you can see that. I'm terrible at this. I'm so sorry. Put that on there and see, then that's going to lay over on top of that like so. Okay, does that make sense? Otherwise it's all janky. Okay, put that a little higher. So this is something you just kind of have to play around with, but the first time I did this, I was literally trying to do this and it was all covered in Mod Podge. It was a sticky mess, but that's okay. I made it work. I just had messy fingers. So now, learning from my previous experience, I'm going to pre-cut some strategic areas. I may still have to peel it off and cut some more. But these are areas that can overlap and they will not mess up your design because they're flowers. You know, flower petals and leaves, they just go everywhere. Okay. So I'm going to give that, oh, that's going to poop up the wrong way. Take a little more. You just don't always know, so you just kind of play with it until you figure out where you think you need it. Okay. I didn't like the shape of the end of that leaf. It was a little weird, so I just changed it. You can do that. Leaf, whatever. Okay, we're going to give this a go. I'm also going to do a cut here. Trust me on this. I'm going to do a little cut right here where the edge of this pumpkin is right in front of that flower. Okay? I'm going to do that. So this is a way to navigate your material over this. Now if you're putting it on for the first time and you haven't pre-done the Mod Podge, so it's just material, sometimes you can just stretch your fabric. It's over here. So sometimes you can just stretch your fabric and make it work. But to cut these pretty little designs out and not have your fabric just fray all to pieces, you have to do the Mod Podge. I haven't tried doing it with the, oh, what's that stuff called? Not sizing, but it's like a bond that you can add. You can iron it onto the back of the fabric and that will also stop it from fraying. I haven't tried that. I just decided I'll just do this. This just works for me. Okay, so we're just gonna go for it. We're gonna put this baby on here. Just kind of start mashing it down a little bit. See how it's kind of rumply right there? I'm going to pull it up just a little bit, slide it up just a little bit more. I'm going to lift this because I want the edge of the pumpkin in front of that flower. But see, it's going to crisscross right there a little bit. Okay? This stuff dries so fast that it's already not wanting to stick. You know, just smear a little under there. This whole cup is going to be completely covered in Mod Podge when I'm done. I use it to seal a lot of my vinyl pieces that I'm concerned may lift when I put the epoxy on. Like so, see? Alright, so that crisscrossed right there. It's got a little tiny bump, but by the time we Mod Podge it and it gets Mod Podged and then epoxied, you shouldn't feel that little bump right there. Actually, right now I'm not feeling it at all. It's just the edge of the fabric. Okay? Alright, move over here. Now this one, because of the way I cut it, and I want the petals going over the top of this other flower, that's how it was indicated in the picture. Just going to put that down. I think I need a little smidge more. Alright. And voila. There we go. Blue pumpkin, orange pumpkin, and my pretty sunflowers, fall colors, all applied to the cup. Now, and I put just enough Mod Podge to make it stick. And now I'm going to cover the whole thing. I'm going to slather it on there. I don't want it to lift. I also don't want any areas of the fabric to be porous where the epoxy can soak into the fabric. Yeah, I've had that happen before too. That is a hot mess. It looks terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. So, there we go. Okay, that's, you know, it's all white looking. It's gonna dry clear. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. It'll dry quick. Now, if I need to rush this, I'll just take my heat gun, hold it a nice distance away. You don't want it right on it. It'll make your Mod Podge bubble and boil. I'll just take my heat gun, hold it at a distance, and just finish drying that. So, but I'm not going to do that right now. On this side, this is where I had that super high weirdness that went on. Wasn't happy with that. So I'm going to cover it up. I'm going to cover it with this pretty little stripy pumpkin. I like this one. This is what I used on my other cup. So it's kind of, let's see, I eyeball things. So there's sort of the middle of the top, you know, right there. So I'm just going to kind of go whoop and make it cover that. Okay? So now that little stripe is going to be disguised. And it's very possible, that little bumpy spot, it's very possible that I may not have to do any cuts on this pumpkin. I'm going to give it a go. I'm just going to paint it with the icky stuff. I know. Rachel, from Mr. Nola's Glitter, who I referenced earlier, she calls Mod Podge the devil's glue. Not her favorite. Not really my favorite, except when I need it and I don't have it. Then all of a sudden I'm frustrated. I'm like, I got a Mod Podge. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I need to move it over. It's just a little. I'm looking at that side, kind of wanting it to hit. There we go. Sort of sticking. It needs a little more. Yeah, no fun to run out of supplies that you need when you need them. So, and I'm just as bad as I was when I was a little girl. And I'll tell you why. I don't know if you did this when you were kids, but I certainly did. We would, on purpose, paint our hands, get glue all over our hands, sometimes on my arm, because I like to sit and peel the glue off. We thought that was so cool when we were little kids. Well, guess what? Some things stay with you. Yeah. Okay. This is how I created this cup. Ta-da. Now, in here, I'm going to show you some other things I didn't do on the other one that I want to add to this one. Because I like crazy details. And that material had some leaves. Yes, I'm the crazy person who sits and cuts out little tiny leaves. Yeah, because like I have nothing else better to do with my time. Yeah. So there are a couple of spots on here that I wasn't thrilled with. Oops, how I wasn't super happy with how the vinyl came together. Of course, now see, I can't even find it, you know, because that's what we do. But I thought, oh, I just want to put a little leaf on there somewhere, just because it's pretty, you know. So maybe I'll just put it like, I don't know, what do you think? Maybe just a little somewhere, just a little leaf. Would that look dumb? Maybe I should add it over here to this little pumpkin. I know I'm going totally off camera. I get all excited. Maybe I should just add it right down here. Just to balance this out a little more. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just add another green leaf onto this because I think it's cool. Well, it's mostly sticking. I'll just rub a little more under there, rub that down like so. I don't know. I just don't know. Not thrilled with that. And you can't really see what I'm seeing. But if I cut off the stem, I think that's what I need to do. I'm going to cut off the stem so that I can put it right there, just kind of like it's coming out from underneath that pumpkin. There we go. Ta-da! Voila. Okay. So this is the basics of how I created what I call the blue pumpkin cup. Okay? And then over here on this side, this is a good area right in here. Put somebody's name. I put Happy Fall. I found a cute little SVG file that I had actually in a whole bunch of files that I bought 2 years ago, and I still haven't gone through all of them. I bought one of those bundles. Make sure you have a lot of memory space available on your phone or computer. But anyway, so I found this really pretty that I liked, and I did the gold over the blue. I may swap it and do the blue over the gold this time, where I did like offset. And it's just a real pretty curvy, says Happy Fall on it. And then when the lady that bought this pumpkin, I put her name. I'm just going to put her name like right on here, or you could put it across the bottom. I'll be honest with you, I think I did this different than the other one. I think I put the pumpkin down a little lower on the other one. Doesn't really matter. It's still a blue pumpkin cup with sunflowers. And it's going to have Happy Fall on it. And there you go. Ta-da. So as soon as that dries, and y'all know the story with the Mod Podge. Do not epoxy over what you think is dry Mod Podge. Make sure it's dry, dry, dry. So I'm literally going to let this sit for the rest of the day for several hours. Come back and see, this is wanting to lift a little bit, so I'm having to press it down a little bit. So challenges of putting flat things on a curvy cup, but you can do it. So happy fall, everybody. I hope you learned from this. The rest is all the basics. You know how to do that. Do your couple of layers of epoxy. I will use like the quick coat, something quick, something that dries quick, sets up quick. Because this is white, I've been following somebody else's idea that I learned in our groups, the groups that I'm in. Several people have mentioned they put 1 or 2 drops of blue alcohol ink in their epoxy, and it just further delays the yellowing on a white cup. Because if it's gonna yellow, it's gonna show, and all epoxy over time will yellow. So my final coat on this will be Mr. Nola's glass coat. It is absolutely beautiful. It has UV protection in it. But again, because it's on white, I'm still gonna go ahead and add just a drop of that blue alcohol ink, and it really does help counteracting the yellowing. So happy cup making. Thank you for watching, and let me know what you think. Bye.